Hello, it's Sana, and let's get ready to winterize. Today we're going to winterize geraniums. Put them away for the winter, let them sleep, bring them back out when the conditions are better, and be able to benefit from all this beautiful growth that we got this year and not have to go buy new ones at the garden center next year. At the same time, we've got these pots that will then be pretty much empty. So we'll then get ready for spring and include bulbs that will be ready to pop up early before we want to replant those geraniums. Perfect win-win, nice synchronicity. So first let's start with which geraniums actually to winterize. Luckily for us, the main common geranium that you get at any garden center is the one that loves to be winterized and does really well. Those include the zonal variety and also the seed variety. So you can see here I've got an example of each. So this one here's a seed pod that you can see, and even a variegated leaf. That one does very well. This one's already 3 years old, as is this one, which is the kind of more normal and common zonal variety, which you'll find at your garden centers during most of the summer months. There are a couple other types. There's a wild geranium that doesn't actually even need to be winterized, but it's very uncommon. And then there's also the ivy geranium, which from the research I've done appears that doesn't really winterize all that well. So I'm a big believer in the kitchen principle of mise en place. That basically means put everything in its place before, just makes the whole operation so much easier. For winterizing the geraniums, you don't need much. I've got a paper bag. That's it. That's all you really need. You could also use a cardboard box or even a fabric bag, something that allows some airflow. But really something that you just have around the house, because remember what we're trying to do here is keep it nice and simple and also free. So grab whatever you've got around the house, and that's all you need for winterizing. For the bulbs, you'll need to get a bunch of bulbs, and these I've just bought a bunch of tulip bulbs in bulk, again kind of keeping it nice and thrifty and also not feeling like I have to have every precious one in its place. So grab a lot of bulbs. We'll be able to plant a wonderful bouquet once that's ready. To plant those, I've also got a little spade here and also a wheelbarrow to be able to put the soil in before I put it back in. So now let's get ready to winterize the actual geraniums. It's really as easy as this. You grab the geranium from the base, pull it out gently so that it captures as much of the roots as it can. Wow, this is a big one. Now, this is what happens after you've been winterizing them for 3 years, because you really get that growth year on year. And look at this wonderful, healthy root ball. I'm taking the dirt as much as I can off of it. Don't have to be too precious about it, but just get most of it off, because what we're trying to do here is to send it off to sleep, to send it into some dormancy for a few months. So we don't want it to get nutrients from its roots. We want it to know, hey, it's time to take a nap. So with that in mind, anything that saps its energy, I would take off these dead leaves that accumulate in these. Also, take off any flowers or buds, because we don't want them sending its precious energy, which it needs to sleep over the winter, to try to make these bloom while they're in their bag, right? So we'll just clip those off really easily. I find that the easiest way is to just snap them at the bottom, because there is a natural place where they just snap, and that's real natural for the plant itself. Then you just take this and put it in the bag. When you've got multiple ones and such big ones, such as this, you may want to lay them one direction and then the other, one direction and then the other, just so that you don't get too much of them piling up on one side. But that's all you do. You just put them in. And now that's ready. I will do the rest of these. Once it gets near the top of this bag, I will simply roll up the top of the bag. Okay, so now I have taken all the geraniums out. All the pots are empty and ready for me to plant some bulbs. But just to finish up the winterizing of the geraniums, a couple of notes about the actual plants. As you saw earlier, a lot of these plants are very large, very healthy, have a lot of plant to them after the year, but some of them may be smaller. Now the first year that I winterized, I had about 85% of them come back the next year, look beautiful, but I had about 15% that didn't make it. And all of those had the same quality. They were ones that were small, that were real spindly, and that hadn't really grown much that first year here. So this one is small, however, it has really amazing root. So I am going to keep this one because it could be a great root for next year. I will keep it, see what happens, because it's not bad to have them in there. The worst thing that'll happen is that it'll dry out and then it won't be viable. So you may as well try it. So I will try this. So that first year I lost a few, but the next year I didn't lose any and haven't lost any since. So these geraniums each year get stronger and stronger, more resilient, more robust, and they are very hardy plants, so you can have them for years and years to come. They are very hardy plants. I mean, I'm originally from California, so geraniums, you don't have to winterize them there. They grow very nicely all year long. And in fact, when I was a child, my father hit the bed of geraniums with the lawnmower one time, and instead of actually killing the geraniums, it actually expanded the bed because those branches had fallen down and actually taken root and grown more plants. So they are very hardy plants, and that's why we also have the luxury of being able to winterize them with very little care. So taking them out, putting them in a paper bag or a cardboard box, and then just put them away in a nice, cool place. The main thing about this is you don't want them to get light because you don't want them thinking that they should be growing. And you want to keep them cool so that they can just sleep in a dormancy. So I'm going to put mine in my garage, which doesn't freeze, but stays relatively cool. You could also think of a basement, or in Western Europe you may have a cave or a place where you keep wine or root vegetables. Those are perfect places to keep your bag of geraniums. I do like to check on them. People say once every month, but I've never had to do anything to them. We're really just checking for mold, checking to make sure that they aren't completely dried out. So when you want to bring them out is only after the main frosts have happened. So when you think, oh, there's probably no more frosts, then just pull out the bag. What you will see is a not very healthy looking geranium. It will probably look a bit like a stick, but with little baby leaves on it. So those little leaves should give you hope. So at first, when you just put them in the ground, because it really is that simple, they don't have soil or anything, so they're quite easy. Poke a hole, put the roots in the ground, and then plant them. They look a bit like sticks, but have faith, in a couple of weeks you'll have growth happening. Those little kind of shriveled up sticks will fill out again, look very robust, start really growing those leaves, and you'll have flowers and blooms before you know it. You'll actually be ahead of the game because they're often will be much taller, and they'll already start to be able to fill out faster than if you went and actually bought new ones at the garden center. So enjoy winterizing your geraniums. And now I'm going to use these to fill them up with bulbs, because they actually love the cold, and get them ready to do a really nice big bouquet at the beginning of the season. And those will bloom right at the beginning of the season, start to wither down right at about the time that these geraniums want to be planted. So I will then, as those start to wilt down, poke these in. Got a nice transition period where they're still green, and these will have a chance to fill out, and then you've got the next wonderful season of geranium blooming all summer long. Thanks so much.